All right, today we're going to learn about converting mixed numbers into improper fractions, and also the other way, improper fractions into mixed numbers. And we're going to do this two ways. First, we're going to learn how to do it visually so you can see it and understand it. And then we're going to just learn how to do a quick calculation so you can go from here to there or backwards if you need to. And first, let's do a quick definition of these two terms. So a mixed number is a whole number, so any number like 1, 2, 212, 506, any whole number and a fraction together. So for example, we have 4 is your whole number and 2/5 is a fraction. 4 and 2/5 is a mixed number, a whole number and a fraction together. And really what we're saying is just 4 plus 2/5. We just write them beside each other, but it's 4 plus 2/5. Now an improper fraction is a fraction with a numerator, which is the top number, which is greater than the denominator or the bottom number. So as an example, if I have 12/7, the numerator, top number, is greater or more than the bottom number. So this is an improper fraction. And by the way, if I also had, say, for example, 7/7 or 1, where the numbers are equal, this is also considered an improper fraction. So it might be helpful to also note improper fractions are always going to be greater than or equal to 1. And let's also quickly define a proper fraction, which will be the opposite of this definition, which is a fraction with the numerator less than the denominator, which means these will always be less than 1. So numbers like 1/3, 9/10, 3/5, these are all proper fractions. And then up here, 10/9, 3/2, 5/4, those are examples of improper fractions. And I think you can see that pretty clearly now, so let's move on to converting. Now, the first way we're going to do this, we're going to do it visually. That way you can understand what's happening when we change this mixed number to an improper fraction. So we have 2 and 1/3, and we need to draw that so we can see it. So if I were to draw 2 and 1/3, I have my 2 holes here and my 1/3 here. And please note, I need to keep these holes cut into thirds because we're dealing in thirds. So now the question is, how many thirds do we have total? Well, there's 3 here, and there's 6. There are 7 thirds. So 2 and 1/3 is equal to 7 thirds, as we can see visually. How about 4 and 5/6? So here I've got my 4 and 5/6, and we need to count up the pieces. And they're going to be total when we get there. They're all 6, so they'll be in 6. So here we have, let's see, 6 pieces, 12, 18, 24. And then we have 5 more, so that's going to be 29/6. So what about the other way, from improper fraction to mixed number? So if we had 13/8, to do it visually, I'm going to draw some shapes with 8s in them. So here I've got my shapes, they're cut into 8s, and I need to fill in 13 of these 8s and see what I've got. So there it is, and I had 8 plus 5 more for my 13 pieces. It looks like for our mixed number now we have 1 whole, and then this is going to be 5/8. So when I convert that, it is 1 and 5/8. And let's do one more visually, and then I'll show you the calculation you can do where you don't need to draw a picture. So 9/4, we need some shapes with fourths. So there they are, and now I need to color in 9 of these fourths. And now that I've done that, I can see that there are 2 holes, and now there is 1/4 here. I didn't even need this one. So 9/4 equals 2 and 1/4. And this is a little bit of a slower way to do it visually, but I think it's important in the beginning that you understand how these two numbers are connected. If you look at them like this, it's easy to see how it works. And now that we've done this, we can move on to doing it with calculations, and I'll show you how to do this. There's a formula to figure out this improper fraction, and the formula is the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator over the denominator. And stop for a second, you might be very confused, but it is not that complicated. So let's have a look. The denominator is going to stay on the bottom no matter what. Then we have the denominator times the whole number. So 5 times 5 is 25, and then we're adding the numerator plus 2, and then that's going to give us 27/5, and that's it. Now, why does this work? Because of what we just showed you visually. This is what 5 2/5 looks like. We have 5 pieces times 5 stars, so that's going to give us 25, and now we're adding these 2 more pieces on the end. So 5 times 5 plus 2 gives us 27/5. And that's why it works. And we can quickly do this now. Let's say if I had 9 5/7, that would be a pain to draw that. That would take forever. But we can simply do the formula. 7 times 9 plus 5. So that would be 63 plus 5 is 68. And that all goes over our same denominator, 68/7. And we'll just do one more just to show you. How about 8 3/5? That's going to be 5 times 8. A little bit neater, 5 times 8, and then we're adding the 3, right? 5 times 8 plus 3. So 40 plus 3 would give us 43, and we keep that over 5. Quick and simple, and much easier than drawing 8 or 9 shapes and cutting them into fifths. And you can see how well that worked for other ones too. If you just take a look at what we did before, you could do 3 pieces times 2 plus 1, 7/3. Now finally, let's take a look now at going the other way. So now, if we had 16/3, we would take 16 and divide it into those groups of 3 or thirds. So visually, I'd just be taking 16 and filling up these thirds to get to the point. But we don't want to do this visually. We want to do a calculation. And really, we're taking 16 and dividing it by 3. It's the same, writing 16 over 3 as a fraction is the same thing. 16 divided by 3 like this, or this, or this. It's just a division problem. An improper fraction is basically division. But to put it into a mixed number, we need to do something with the remainder at the end. So let's just do it. If I divide 16 by 3, that's going to be 15, and I have a remainder of 1. Now, this is what you might not know. We can take that remainder and put it as a numerator on top of the number we divided by, and that is our fraction. Turn the remainder into a fraction, and the answer is 5 1/3. Let's just double check visually. So there are 15 pieces I filled in, and that's the 16th piece, and that is indeed 5 1/3. So improper fractions can just be divided, but you need to turn the remainder into a fraction to attach to your whole number. Let's do another example quickly. How about 51 halves here? Now I don't want to draw so many circles with halves until I need to fill up 51, so we can just do the division. 51 divided by 2, and I know 2 times 25 gives me 50. There's 1 left, and again, this is where we take that remainder of 1 and we move it here to make a fraction, and that would be 1/2. So the answer is going to be 25 1/2. So 51 halves is the same as 25 1/2. So that about does it for this. As you can see, it helps to do it visually first so you can understand what's happening. But really, once you get used to it, you can do these with a quick calculation to go from improper fractions to mixed numbers, or to go from mixed numbers to improper fractions the other way around. That is it. If you want some practice, I'm going to just give you some numbers to practice with if you want to try some more. So here are some practice problems you can convert visually by drawing these out, and here are some you can convert with calculations by doing the methods we just learned. So thank you for watching the video, and have a nice day. Bye.